Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Dirty Depths. I believe this is it the second installment we've had of this series? And I've just come off of the marathon session of Batman Arkham Origins, trying to get that guide up, and now it finally is. What better way to come down or to celebrate it than to do another Dark Souls video. You know, the videos that perform the best on my channel consistently, and that provoke a lot of people to think that my channel is a Dark Souls channel, which it isn't, guys. My channel does everything, including this, where I mess around with some guy with a Zweihander and then he bums me. But that's why this series is great, because silly things like that happen, you know? I've got moments where I do something fun, there's moments where things that are crazy are happening, there's moments when, you know, something retarded happens, like what you just saw. And that's why this is one of my favourite series I've done in Dark Souls, just because it's so different to the other things that you've seen. And I mean, this ridiculous chains of backstabs and just trains of people standing up to be backstabbed. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all, but it is hilarious when it happens. And if you're new to the channel and this is the only video you've seen and you're wondering what I'm doing, this is essentially low-level invasions. I've migrated around Lordran, I've ended up in the depths, and this is a soul level 15 character. Don't let that put you off though, it's got to had a lot of experience. You know, it's kind of misleading saying it's just soul level 15, but the weapons it's using can all be used to their full abilities, and you know, they do a lot of damage when wielded correctly. I'm using low poise intentionally, I'm using no shield intentionally because I'm using the Dark Hand, which is... You'll notice I don't really use it to do much shielding, because it's more of just a cool item and a parry tool more than anything. And what happens in the depths is you get a massive mixture of low-level people, of high-level people, of, you know, people corping, people ganking, people cheating, hacking. There's pretty much everything exists in this place, and at the time when I was recording it, it had consistent invasions, just completely consistent invasions. So the reason why I'm here and I'm doing this is because, you know, the game allowed it to be that way, and a lot of places in Lordran are getting a little bit, you know, more barren as time passes, as Dark Souls 2 comes closer, as GTA distracts people from playing. This is a guy who's he's got a Quelaag sword, so he's been to Anor Londo. He's also wearing Ornstein's leggings, so he's a fashionable dude. And I have to be really careful with him, because the damage I'm doing compared to the damage he's doing is pretty nominal. Like, he can kill me in maybe 3 to 4 full hits. I can't kill him in that many, so you're going to see me going for criticals. I'm doing a bad job at this moment in time of trying to backstab him, which... I do think sometimes when you get into a backstab mentality, you focus so much on just trying to get that counter that you can get yourself killed, which very nearly happened there. But I was luckily enough to land the parry, and now we're up against a white phantom who's just been backstabbed and killed. And there's a quick transition there. One thing you'll notice in this series is I'm trying to trim a lot of the fat, because there's a lot of it. You know, for instance, this right here, the gold phantom that's hitting me with his sword is not upgraded at all, so it's not doing any damage whatsoever against my armor. The host, however, has spells, and my armor doesn't protect me much against spells, so the spells do quite a lot of damage when they hit me right. And it's one of those moments where it's an interesting combination of people, where you've got the hound rushing me and putting pressure on me, and then you've got the master behind him firing the spells from a distance, and it's... You know, they've got the Curse Frogs to contend with. It's one of those really interesting game of deaths right now. A lot of people ask why I have 99 humanity. Like, I've intentionally done it to get higher defense so that I stand a better chance of beating people. It has nothing to do with that, guys. I've done more than 1,000 invasions on this build, and, you know, even when I kill myself and I build them back up, you know, after you win a few invasions, you get 99 again. So it's just one of them things that is, you know, it's just one of those things that happens. You know, if I could choose not to have that defense, then I would, but it doesn't really matter, because there's such a wide gap between the people who are new to the game, or who are just, you know, early low level, low equipment, to the people who have elemental weapons. Like this guy, I think this guy has some fire on his scythe, he just doesn't have too much of it. And you'll notice He's got a bit of poise on his build. He's got a nice quick roll. I'm not too sure if this guy's trying to PvP. He looks the part. One of the things you'll notice with... if somebody is a PvP player or someone who enjoys PvP, they'll run around in human form just so that they get those, you know... every so often they'll get a little bit of action while they're making builds and so on. And this is one of your, you know, your standard scythe guys. They love to do the double R2. A lot of people ignore some of the scythe's better moves just because of how powerful and how fun those R2s are, but that guy seemed to be doing quite a lot. And I'll finish him off there with a weapon people will be familiar with. But there's a quick parry, and you'll notice the riposte does not do as much damage as the S-Stock. The Boulder Side Sword I was using is a much lower level. Yeah. You'll notice there's a bunch of jump cuts against this guy. If you're wondering why, this fight took about 10 to 15 minutes because I was just messing about with parry timings and toggling and things like that, because it's something I've been trying to get better at, or I had at the point of recording this. This is quite old footage now. But as you can see, he's trying his best, but his weapon is not strong enough to really cause me enough grief. So it's one of those fights where it's not really fair for him. But these aren't about fairness, guys. These are about just the insanity that happens in random invasions. Just like this right now. This is the complete opposite of the previous fight. You see what I mean? Whereas before, his weapons were so weak they did nothing to me, and I was so weak compared to that giant dude that he did everything to me. So there's a very interesting juxtaposition. And this guy is a fun one. You'll notice, pretty simple stuff. He's got an elemental claymore. He kills me with stun lock. And, you know, nothing much to be said about that fight. Remember it though, folks, because we'll go back later when he's with a phantom. And there's a little different result to that fight. And he sent me a very angry message, which was hilarious, because you're not going to see it in this video, but he killed me maybe 4 or 5 times the exact same way you just saw. 2 to 3 piecing me with a claymore with elemental on it, because I was trying to toggle it and get the parry, and the timing was just off. So he'd killed me a bunch of times, and I don't know if he just thought he was amazing or he didn't realise I was a low level. I'm not too sure what happened. A lot of people will shrug. You'll see them shrug. This guy jumps, so he's happy. But when you see a player shrug, it's generally from confusion, I like to think. Especially when they kill me in 2 hits and they wonder what the hell just happened, because they're not expecting you to die so quickly. And they're the people that probably aren't too used to how the PvP works on Dark Souls, as I show you that lovely little slime section. And another New Game Plus guy here, who's using the Great Sword of Artorias and Artorias' gear, but he's flipping. And I have absolutely no idea if that's legit or not, which I think it is, because he could be any level, so he might have a shit ton of endurance, but what I do know is I could only just fast roll in that armour at level 120 with that sword with both Havel and Fap. So that tells me that to flip like he's doing, he has to have some serious endurance. There's no other way he can do what he's doing. Because if you remember on my Artorias build, I only have the sword, I don't have a second weapon, I don't have a shield, I just have Artorias' gear, so at level 120, it isn't feasibly possible to do what he's doing, and he has a bow too. And a lot of life. That is a lot of life. This guy might be level 300, who knows. But his weapon hurts, but thankfully it doesn't hurt enough to kill me in one. And he keeps pulling the bow out for some reason, and he's gonna get punished if he keeps doing that. I have no idea why I didn't just chain stab him, but maybe I wasn't in the mood for, you know, being that ruthless. Because a lot of people don't like chain stabs. They look at them as an expression that I hate, which is try hard. Who doesn't try hard at something they enjoy? If you're not trying hard at what you're doing, why are you doing it? I hate this cop-out, this notion that, oh, I wasn't trying hard, so thus I can lose and have immunity. What the fuck is that about? It's the dumbest thing the internet has ever bred. This is amazing, by the way. This is a Solaire roleplayer. Not Solaire, sorry, what's his fucking name? Oh, it's gone. What is your name? Douchebag. Phylic Stabber. Wannabe. Yerl the Silent, whatever his name is. What is his fucking name? I can't remember his name. That is so bad. Lautrec. There you go. That was a guy cosplaying as Lautrec with his 2 phantoms. I don't know if the phantoms were accurate because I didn't get a chance to see. But how cool is that? And not only did he fight me one-on-one, but his phantoms never joined in. Which is the same thing said twice. But I thought that was cool, that. And I might have lost, you know, pretty decisively. But it was nice to see. And this is back to a guy with a Drake Sword in basic armor with a base shield. So, as you can tell, I'm going to hit him with some poison arrows, see what he does, what his choices are. He uses a moss, which is pretty resourceful for a new player. And I'm probably going to lure... So, ooh, there you go. He's using his R2s, which is always awesome to see. I thought he'd do a roll attack, he didn't. Probably because he didn't have the stamina to do it. And then he's going to go away and heal again. And I don't really mind at this, because all this is just me having a bit of fun with this guy, whoever he is. And then I do a toggle into a backstab and it's probably all over. But another invasion. That would have been a parry if it had landed. This guy's got what looks like an elemental Shoto. He's wearing the full Dark Wraith armor with the spiked shield. And I'm always confused how somebody can summon this guy as a white, when if you look at the guy who summoned him, he has the armor from the lower Berg, he's got the shield from the Valley of the Drakes, and he's using a Drake Sword. So it's always kind of... And this guy's got an elemental Falchion. And luckily enough, he seems to be lagging quite a lot, so I can hit him with some backstabs. I expect a parry, I don't get it, he doesn't even swing. He gets healed by the host, and then we're at an impasse, so I start firing poison arrows, and there's a transition. So if you see a transition like that, it generally means that I was fighting them for a very long time and it was very boring and not worth watching. So I saved you from it and just got to the good bit, which is I obviously killed the Phantom and then I killed the host. But now this is a good one. How the hell did I get down here faster than the host? Like, I've never seen that before. And not only that, but I fell. So when I landed on my ass. I was literally laid on my back. And then I get a nice bit of latency backstab. This is 2 phantoms and a host, really out for blood. Very low life. I'm going to lure him to the Curse Frogs because they're the only chance I have at this point. You'll notice I'm using a longsword. I think the longsword is plus 10, maybe a little bit lower. So my weapons aren't as damaging as some of the ones I've been using, but they're still damaging enough to do that. So we get down one of the phantoms. Here come the Curse Frogs. Pop equip Humanity, nearly take a fireball, backstab the second phantom. Don't kill him though, as you can see this guy's got a little bit more life or a little bit more armor. He's in blue tier stone, I suspect, and he's just died. So it's me and the host now with all the Curse Frogs. So let's see how this goes. Host is just round here playing with Curse Frogs. This looks real bad. Really bad for this guy. Oh, I remember this. I think I backstabbed him by accident when I mean to kick. So there's the backstab. This is meant to be a kick, but I accidentally stab him because obviously it reads the input for the attack. So instead of cursing him and ruining his day, I backstab him and save him from the curse. So I went from being arsehole invader to saviour from the curse. But this is me back to being arsehole invader 101. Ruining the guy's stamina bar with kicks so that the butcher can finish him off. I had a bunch of little clips called Butcher Justice, which is a play on words from a guy called Sandy Ravage's Boost to Justice. Fantastic videos if you've ever seen them. And I did pretty much this, which some people will feel sorry for him, but I think that's hilarious. I really do. There's just something crazy about the butchers. They're terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. There's a little combo on a random Ingwood. And here we go again in Gank City. So... guys throwing thunderbolts, we're deflecting arrows, there's a whole bunch of them, gangbanging, here comes the jump. I don't know how he got past me. You'll notice I've got an elemental dagger on, a bandit's knife. I use it for people that are either higher level than me or when I'm outnumbered. Oh, doesn't matter though. A lot of people will see the knife and they'll think I'm twinking. Well, if you see the damage that knife does, it does less than a Drake Sword. But the backstabs are what I use it for. It is a complete backstab, just equalizer. It will ruin things. And you might remember I mentioned a guy with a claymore who beat me a bunch of times. This is him. This is when I have a bit of backup from the rats. and it doesn't go the same way it did before. And he sent me the angriest message I've received in a long time, along the lines of, "Run away, you bitch, pull enemies, bitch, can't fight me, bitch," and all this other stuff. And I think I sent him one thing back saying, "You ran into a mob of rats with no poise." Or low poise. And that's all I needed to say, because who does that, guys? Who does that? You see 3 giant rats, you don't run into the middle of them when each one can stunlock you. You don't do that. You wouldn't do that when you were just with the rats, and he did it when there was an invader there. So stupid. But this is just a dude trying to make his way through the depths in his knight armor with his long sword and his kite shield. So we'll see how this goes. That wasn't meant to be a jump attack. I get a parry off it, which, you know, my connection can be strange with the parry times. But here comes a bunch more phantoms. One thing you'll learn if you invade in the depths, at any level I guess, a lot of people co-oping. A lot of dudes running around with a bunch of phantoms. And there is that. There goes the first phantom. And I can hear somebody moving around, but I can't see. You'll notice that that's a familiar name. This is a group of friends we've killed before. Those were the people that I lured into the curse frogs and then backstabbed, I believe. And it's the exact same group of mates as well. So it kind of sucks that you know they're just trying to get through the level and play with the buddies and stuff. But it's so much fun coming into the world and just destroying everything. You know, Dark Souls was designed with that kind of chaos in mind. And in our arrogance as players, we've kind of, you know, superimposed these ideals and these rules onto the community, onto everybody that plays it, and nobody agrees on them, and there's no place that says they have to. And we kind of lost our way with how we played the game. You know, people idealize this better version of Dark Souls, this, you know, this respectful, everybody bows, everybody 1v1s, and has really, you know, awesome Street Fighter-esque competition levels of battle. But that's just not what this game's about. It was never about that. This game at its purest is exactly what you're seeing here. It's just a phantom invades a world and tries to kill. And the people in that world do whatever they can to stay alive. You know, it's beautiful in its simplicity. It's just, you know, the ideal version is so beautiful too. It's just completely unrealistic. But here goes a guy doing jump attacks with the Drake Sword. He loses points for spamming it, but at the same time, it's nice to see somebody use the jumps. You know, there's a lot of people that don't even know how to jump. So I'm always refreshed when I see somebody so willing to do a risky move. So he goes for the backstab. I introduce him to the kick, and then the punish backstab, and I think that's probably enough to put him down. So he needs to heal, and he does. I thought he was going to die then. But the camera angle is terrible in the depths. You know, especially when you fight in these tiny rooms, you can't see shit. I'm hoping Dark Souls 2 doesn't have quite as much of it. Because some of the camera stuff, especially in these close-quartered rooms, you can't fight. You can't fight, especially with lag. Because you just get those moments where they're swinging a sword, they're not even facing you, they're miles away, and they're still hitting you because of the range. This is a weird one. So, guy number 1 is Gravelording. Guy number 2 is a Gravelord hunter who's come into the world touching the sign. I invade, kill the host, and then Mr. like Gravelord Blue starts having a go. Like, what's he playing at? Nice to see though that I stumbled upon the Gravelords and I got indicted, which is interesting. And this is him again, same guy with his combustion. Only problem is I know how to backstab and I do it without mercy. So guy gets killed again, unfortunately. And I point him down for the cheap shot, but you know, it's only Dark Souls, guys. Oh, this one looks strange. Oh, he shuts the door. Interesting. I open the door, bit of Laurel and Hardy. Go for the parry, miss it. He's got a rapier, an armour, and wolf ring, and a dragon helmet. He's wearing Black Knight armour, for Christ's sake. Why is he afraid of me? Come on, dude. Fight me. Fight the bunch of blobs. There he goes, popping the moss, because the poison's really not going to work on a high-level character. And then he does that! Dark Moonblade! It's like, come on, man! But I guess he wants to get rid of his invader as quickly as he can, so you're going to see me try and put on my equalizer. But it doesn't really make a difference if I remember this fight correctly. We'll soon see, though. No. That is such a big hit. Gosh, buffs are... I'm so curious to see how Dark Souls 2 handles the buffs, because they just don't make any sense. But he bows, you know, he had a good time. He killed his invader, he showed some respect. And that's the end of the video, so thank you for watching, folks, and you take care now.